Alright, I think I'm live now. This is my first live stream on YouTube in a while. I think everything's set up to go. Alright, yeah, it looks like I do have everything up and running right now, so I am live. You'll just give it a couple more minutes, just in case anyone pops in. Alright, I was going to go over the deck tech and talk about the tournament first, but I think I might actually switch it up and start by opening up the 90 blister packs first. See if that draws in some more people into the stream. So why don't I just start with that, which means my deck I can put away for the moment. Alright, so one of the things I got for getting first place at the Minnesota Card Show Nostalgix Tournament is I got 3 boxes with 30 blister packs each, so 90 blister packs in total. And since my hands unfortunately have the feature that they sometimes sweat, I'm going to be wearing gloves while I open the blister packs. I know booster boxes come with 36 packs, so this is going to be 18 shy, so this is basically going to be 2.5 booster boxes of blister packs. Although I will say that there is the added bonus in the blisters to have a signature card, which supposedly we get 1 in 100 blister packs has a special signature card, but I think it's actually a little bit less likely than that. And I don't remember if I've actually I know I've opened a blister pack before. I don't remember. I don't remember the easiest way to open up these blister packs, so I guess we'll be figuring that out together. There is the booster. I should have switched to move the uncommons in front. We got Grot Bloom. Do need to figure out the best way to pile these. Why don't we set those there for now? On to blister number 2. Oh, I think I spelled it. It's a hero. It is Detective Mako. For our next rare. Excuse me while I quickly rearrange the piles for a second. Blister pack number 3. I'm going to try to keep track of the number as we go along, but at some point I'm probably just going to forget. Oh. No, these booster packs are not the easiest to open. Another Witchy Longlegs. Gotta remember to hold the pack a little bit closer to the camera. And we got a Lilith. Nice. So no foils or voids yet. We got time. This is number 4. Oh, did it again. Uncommons to the front, and we're good to go for pack number 4. Oh, and we got our first foil, a King Stinger. Let's make sure to get that one sleeved up. Alright, on to pack number 5. Let's just say pack number 5. First uncommon, Supermassive Slingshot. And the rare, we got a Voidcast. That is a very good card, and definitely very playable, especially if you're playing with Lucky Frog Merchant. If you have not tried playing a Lucky Frog Merchant deck to try to abuse Voidcast, it is very fun. Oh, whoops. Hit the light there. So now this is pack 6, I do believe. There we go. That was a clean opening. Okay. So here we go. For uncommons, I'm mostly just looking for Puppet Master Wrong, because even though it was restricted, and it's probably going to be restricted at tournaments moving forward, it is still pretty much a playable card in pretty much every deck. The other uncommon I'm really looking for, Lucky Frog Merchant. Speaking of which, I spoke this into existence. But the other uncommon I'm mostly looking for, there's a Tower Fall and also Fish Out of Water. Those, along with Puppet Master Wrong, are the most widely playable uncommons, in my opinion. So now we're on to number 7. Right, that's the art for the Void Venomusa, correct? Maybe it's a sign, maybe that'll be our first Void. Alright, we got Jumbo Card Dragon. Oh, there's the Tower Fall. We spoke that one into existence too. So now I'm feeling a Gamatron signature card. Oh, it's not a Gamatron signature card, but it is a foil. Oh, what's up, Brandon? We got Brandon watching. How's it going, man? I know, Brandon, I talked to you before about Nostalgix, about not great places to get singles, but I won 90 blister packs at the last Nostalgix tournament I went to, so if you need singles, I know a guy. Alright, this is number 8, I do believe. Sorry, I need to make sure to hold the cards in front of the camera. This is my first pack opening live stream. And we got a second Lilith. This is very hard to play since this is a 3rd level fighter, but if you do get into play, the 18 health is gonna make sure it sticks around for a while. Let's try to get that pilot a little bit better. Alright, on to pack number 9, is this? Alright, I'm still looking for my first Void Rare. Apparently, your chances of getting Void Rares in blister packs compared to normal boosters are the same. There's just the added benefits of also maybe getting a signature card. And for the rare, we got a Xenobot. Alright. So while we aren't getting any voids so far, we are getting a lot of random foils. Alright, is this number 10? I've already lost track. Who knows what number we're on? Number roughly 10. Alright, I'm feeling another hero card for the rare. And it is a hero. It is Engineer. There are heroes for rares, and I believe 1 in every 4 packs. So I'm assuming they're going to be about 1 in every 4 blister packs in a single box are going to be heroes. Alright, it's on to number 11, I do believe. I know I could just have like a piece of paper and a pencil numbering all of these as I go along, but that'd be too easy. Why do things the easy way? That's at least the second squirrel for commons that we've got. Ooh, Baby Card Dragon I'll always take. Gundra. Have we gotten any Gamatron pieces besides Gundra? Because I think this is the 3rd one I've opened so far today. Then we got a Cerbercat for the rare. Alright, on to the next blister, which I think is number 12. Alright, Maximum Armor. Massive Effect, that's another great uncommon. Mariga. Let's go with our Liliths. So maybe we need to adjust the focus. But there, I think that looks a little bit better. And we got our first Void Rare, and sure enough, it is the art that's been on a lot of these booster packs. We got a Void Venomusa. I've been opening mostly Day 0 booster packs, which have a few different Voids, so I have not gotten this one yet. Alright. First Void, let's double sleeve this one, just to be safe. So we got our first Void Rare. That is a good one, too. A lot of the 3rd Evolution fighters... This, I believe, is blister pack number 13, but yeah. A lot of the 3rd Evolution fighters, they generally cost a lot more than the 6 mana of the Venomusa. Kyle, so does make it one of the more playable 3rd evolution fighters. Oh, forgot to clear out. I was so excited about the Void Rare, I forgot to clear out the other cards. Alright, so now it's pack number 13, if I'm counting correctly. Lucky Frog. I know there are going to be a lot more frogs in Harmonic Surge, the second set of Nostalgix, coming out on June 2nd, so Frog Tribal might actually be a thing in Nostalgix once the second set comes out. And we got another Engineer It. A little disappointing we got those so close together. Then again, we did get 2 Liliths, so I'm wondering how the packs are collated. I wonder if that means we're likely to get doubles of some of our other rares. Oh, the uncommons are falling down! Alright, hopefully they'll stay there. Alright, pack number 14, maybe, probably. Oh no, it happened again! Alright, Keepers of the Peace, another good one. Definitely slow down your opponent with that. Oh, and there's a Puppet Master wrong. It's always nice to see the Puppet Master. Oh, and we got Destructa, which is one of the rares which helped me win my last tournament. Definitely a good one. Oh, uncommon still falling. Now, my table is not perfectly flat, so I feel like having them more in the center will keep them more steady. Alright. So now, is this number 15? This is booster pack approximately 15, halfway through the first box. Well, once we open this, we'll be about halfway through the first box. So first we got Calamar, Maximum Armor, and Massive Effect again. And we got Croak for the rare. So let's see, counting through. So yes, that was pack number 15, so we're halfway to the first box. Now on to number 16. Now I don't think you can get more than 2 of the same Void Rare in the same booster box, but I'm not quite sure how it works with the blister packs. I guess we will see. So we got another Keepers of the Peace. Oh, and our second Puppet Master wrong. I'll take as many of those as I can. Lava Bites. And for the rare, we got a tune-up. Nice. All right, on to the next one. This is number 17. This one does not want to tear. There we go. We got the Puppet Master on the artwork. I don't remember if Void Puppet Master Wrongs are in the Day Zero packs or the first edition packs. After the first box, after we go through all the blisters in the first box, I'll look that up quick. All right, and for the rare, we got, a Semperkin. Definitely a good one. Especially because there are going to be more foxes in Harmonic Surge. You know, Toxafox, which was a promo, is going to actually be printed in Harmonic Surge. You can actually use it in tournaments. That's definitely a good pull. All right, on to number, I think this blister 18. Right, so the first uncommon is a Plundrak. Got Live Wire. Reload. Shellstorm was accidentally printed with the uncommon border, but it is actually a common. So that was not a misprint on having an extra uncommon there. Well, it is a misprint, but not a not an allocation error, I think is what it's called. We got Vurox to go with our Semperkin, and we got a Lucky Frog Merchant again. Oh! Cards going everywhere! I think once we finish this box, we'll try to make a new stack for the commons, but in the meantime, we're on to pack number 19. Speaking of foxes, Psychofox is one of the main reasons why you should play foxes. There we go. So first uncommon is a Cordy Slug. Along with speaking of which, so I keep speaking some cards into existence, so I'm still feeling that Gamatron signature card is what we need to pull. So come on, signature card. It's me behind this, and it is not a signature card, but it is a foil in Seal Costa. The Seal Costa line is really fun since all their fighters boost the damage on spells and surprises. Alright, so on to number, is this 19? I've definitely lost track. Pack number maybe 19. Here we go. And we got Gorgodot to go with our Void Venomusa. Let's make sure. I think right about there it's focused. Oh, and the rare is another Voidcast. I know Voidcast is the more common rare spell you can get. There are only 3 of them. I feel like Voidcast is definitely more popular than Extra Life. Though with Extra Life being restricted now, Voidcast is still a great pickup. Alright, on to the next blister pack. That one has the Lucky Frog Merchant on the art. That is beautiful character art. Alright, there we go. The most difficult part about this entire process is indeed opening the booster packs. We start off with a Sinking Feeling. Shellstorm again, the uncommon common. And we got Valkyrian as the rare. Quick, someone call Ren from Ren's Collectibles and tell him that I got a Valkyrian. I'll sell him or trade him. This is one of, if not the favorite card of the most popular Nostalgix YouTuber. Possibly because Rian sort of sounds like Ren at the end. But it is definitely a very good card and very fun card too. Alright, doing a count. 9 more in this box. Which means this is number 22. And we got a Pestilence. First uncommon to go with our Croak that we found. Severe Weather. One of the only mill cards, mass mill cards. Another Shellstorm. I need to stop mentioning it because all the cards that... Oh, we got another Void Venomusa. I was honestly not expecting to get more than one of the same Void in a single one of these boxes, but we did it. Alright. Alright, let's double sleeve this. We got that gorgeous Void Rare again, the second one so far. After this, I might just have to make a Venomusa deck. Just to play all the Void Rares I'm getting, because at this rate, I'm aimed to get 4 more of them, so I'll have enough Venomusas to make at least 3 decks. Oh, I forgot to move away the commons and uncommons. Funny how I sort of forget to do that when I get the Void Rare. It's like, oh man, Void Rare! On to the next pack, we got Rule of 4, which I still need to make a deck building around that. I do have an idea to make Rule of 4 work. Shellstorm. Why do we keep getting all these Shellstorms? Don't need that many. And we got the Nostalgix Mandalorian. We got Bylask. Alright, this is number 24? Yes, looks like number 24. We got Chrono Crew, one of the cards from my deck, which won me all of these blister packs. Stay tuned later in the live stream. Once I'm done opening all the packs, I will be going over the deck tech for that. We got another Tower Fall, which is always welcome, because that is a card you're going to want in most decks. And for the rare, we got another Cocoon. Cocoon is one of those cards you definitely need to keep an eye on, because the more sets that come out, the more equipment are going to come out, and more equipment will only make Cocoon better. Alright, this is number 26. Starting with a Nullifying Void. If you need a way to beat your opponent's Akira, Nullifying Void will definitely do that. And we got another Lucky Frog Merchant. Is that our third Lucky Frog Merchant so far? I think it is. Alright, 4 more packs of only the first box of 3. Whoops, accidentally hit the light there. Alright, should be good. Alright, still no signature card yet. I did the math, and with a, I know we aren't still not guaranteed with 90 packs to get a signature card, but still hoping we'll get one. So we got Valhalla Tornadex, which I feel like is another underutilized card. Right, and the rare is a Shimmer Seraph. Alright, so after including this pack, there are 4 more in the box. Did I say that last time there were only going to be 4 more after this one? I don't know, at any rate, I know I did count, there were 30 in the box before I start. So whatever the count is, we're for sure going to be doing 30 for this box. Next up, we got Athena. He was hoping to get an Evangeline in this pack. And for the rare, we got another Shimmer Seraph in back-to-back packs. I am curious if all of these packs were packed together all at once before being put in this box, or if just 30 random packs were put into these boxes each. Oh, there we go. Oh, come on. This one does not want to rip. Alright, got it started. There we go. Alright, and we got another severe weather to start off. Along with a soul jar. And we got another Bylask. I think that's the... Is that the 4th hero we've got doubles of so far? And I will say, as someone who's opened up a lot of booster packs, I do wish there were fewer heroes, since you only need one hero for each deck, so I wish they were less likely to draw heroes from the booster packs. But I mean, we still got 2 Void Rares so far, so there's not a lot we can complain with. I can live with multiple of the same heroes as long as we keep getting Void Rares. And the rare, our next Void Rare, it is a Void of Evelyn. I don't remember if I have a Void Evelyn yet. That is a great pickup. I will say that is one of definitely the best looking Voids I've gotten so far, because the art on Evelyn already had a lot of purple and pinks in it, and with the Void treatments, it does look really cool. Alright, one more pack in this box. Let's hope for back-to-back Void Rares. Oh, gotta clear out the previous uncommons and commons again. Alright, here we go. And we got another Puppet Master. I believe that's our 3rd one so far. We cannot escape the Shell Storm. Good thing we're not in Kira. And if the rare, another Voidcast. I think that's our 3rd one so far. Alright, so 1 box down of the 3 blister pack boxes we've got. So far we've gotten 3 Void Rares. Now it is on to box number 2. Just to show everyone, quick count. There should be 30 in here, right? I'm assuming there's 30. Someone in chat saying the void rare rate is 1 every 30 packs. Alright. 3 to the front. Oh, speaking of Ren from Ren's Collectibles, he is here now. So everyone say hi to Ren. Yes, so far I've opened up the first box of 3, and I got 3 void rares. We got 1 void Evelyn and 2 void Venomusas, so we're doing pretty good so far. Out of the first 30, I'm just about to open pack 31. Oh, also, Ren, I did open 1 Valkyrian so far, which I know you love. So if you want to trade for it or buy it, I might be able to let it go for you. And we got another Seal Costa. Yes, Ren, I did get 1 Valkyrian right here. There she is in all her glory. Which I had to show off again just for you. Need to start another pile of commons. Alright. This should be pack number 32. Alright, starting off with a Phage bot. Soldier Dice, that's another good one. And we got another Grot Bloom. We did get 1 Grot Bloom the previous box, so I'm wondering if we're gonna get some of the similar rares, just as we did before. I know out of the non-foil rares, the foils you really want to get, the Booster Box Dragon, Gamatron, and also Gelfon seem to be the most sought-after foil rares. Did not see any of those before, but we did get some great voids. I totally missed. There we go. Alright. After that dreaded trash can miss, we are on to the next pack. Everyone's favorites, Voodoo is here, along with Nope. That's another card that you can play in pretty much every deck. We get another Detective Mako. This seems to be pretty much just what... This seems to be very similar to what we had in the previous box so far. Alright, on to pack number 30-something. I really should be keeping track of the number by hand instead of just trying to remember everything. We got another Gorgodot to go with our other Void Venomusa. And we got another Xenobot. Yeah, so far, almost all of the rares in this box are the same as the previous box. Alright, pack number 35, maybe. Right. I'm getting better at opening these booster packs, but sometimes there are some that just do not want to be opened up. Oh no, put those commons on the wrong stack. There we go, now onto this pack. We start with a Calamar. And we got our next Void Rare. It is a Void Stacko Fox. That is awesome. Like I said before, I've mostly just been opening up Day Zero booster packs, which have all the same Void heroes, but the non-hero Voids are all different in first edition. So this is my first Void Stacko Fox. Alright, for 4 Voids so far, all of them have been really nice. This one, the art also looks awesome in the Void treatment. Alright, on to the next blister! Before we open that, need to make sure to clear away the commons and uncommons. There we go. I might have missed the trash can again on the last booster pack wrapper, but there we go. It's as if the Void summon the non-Void versions of it. Then again, I didn't actually get a normal Venomoose in the first box. And we got a Nessia for a rare. That's a good one. I still need to play Nessia in a deck and build a card around it. But I think it is still think it is a really good card. I just haven't had time to really find the best deck to throw it in. Alright, so we got the next blister coming. Starting off this pack with a Moriga. Oh, it's another accidentally spoiled the rare there. It is an Evelyn. I mean, even without the Void treatment, that art is still gorgeous. Alright, so this should be pack 38. Alright, starting off with a Livewire. Scrap Metal. This was another one of the restricted cards in the last tournament. Still great to play 2 of if you are playing Metal Fighters. And we got a Gruff Griff. We did not get any Gruff Griff before in the first box. So that is nice to see for a variety standpoint. Alright, next up, number 39. Alright, so we're starting off with an Athena and a Pyrox. And another Nullifying Void. I don't remember getting a lot of Pyrox in the first box. Alright, and for the rare, we got a Morang. Alright. If you can get that one into play, the card advantage from that one is really good. The problem is getting it into play. Right, on to our next blister pack. Here we go, this is our first fish out of water. We didn't actually open any in our first box, that is good to see. That is a card that you should consider playing in pretty much every deck. Making things immune to biting is really that useful. And for the rare, we got a second Nessia. Alright. Still have not seen any Gamatrons or Booster Box Dragons or Gelfonts, but hopefully we're saving all the good foil rares for later. Along with the signature card. Still hoping for that signature Gamatron. Alright, so starting off this pack with a Regenerate. Got Pelaga to go with our Nessias. And we got another Morang. Is that a third Morang from this box so far? I feel like that's too many Morangs. Alright, so on to the next blister. Still waiting on a signature card. Oh, but we did get Towerfall. Alright, and for the rare is a Void Brecon. Alright. Excuse me. We got a Void Brecon. Alright. I know, unfortunately, some of the Voids did have some printing errors, so I know seeing there is a pretty visible line up there on top. That does look great. Is that a... Yeah, condition on this one definitely could have been better. Which is unfortunate, but hey, it's still a Void, I'll take it. So that is our 5th void so far. Oh, it looks like there might have been a problem with OBS. I think it's working now. Said OBS disconnected, but looking at the stream, it still looks like it reconnected correctly. Alright. On to the next blister pack. Starting off with a Scarepin, the followed form of everyone's favorite Voodoo. Nope. Arguably the best comment in the game, just being able to straight up counter a spell is incredibly useful. Got a Farn, Trick Pony, and we got a Pirogni. I believe this is our first Pirogni so far today. Alright, we are looking in here at how many packs we have left. So this is number 44, if I'm counting right. If not, then give me a break. Counting's difficult sometimes. Alright, next pack. We start off with a Lavamander. Team uniforms are a good one. Abducta is great, especially since we did get a Destructa, the evolved form, before. And there is the hero, which won me all these blister packs, Nakira. If you stay tuned after the blister pack opening, I will be going over the deck tech for the deck that won me all these packs, and actually go over all the matches in the tournament too. But first, we're just about halfway through opening up the blisters. Let's start off with a Plundrak in this pack. Biceptus Blast is always welcome. And we got a Mirajor. Alright. This is the first one of these I've gotten so far today. So at first I was worried since the first few rares were all duplicates from the first box, but now we are getting into more unique rares. Which is good, because I'm still waiting for a Gamatron Booster Box Dragon. Alright. Roughly halfway through, we start off with a Succor. Alright, and the rare is a Venomusa. A non-void Venomusa, but that is still a very fun-looking artwork. Alright, so that's our third Venomusa, including the Void Rares. Alright, next pack, here we go. Starting off this pack with a Spookrator. Is it Spookrator? I need to double check. There was a pronunciation video for Nostalgix that got released. So I do need to re-watch that to make sure I'm pronouncing all these cards right. There's a Spookula to go with the Spookrator. Oh! We got Pangar for the rare, also accidentally skipped over a common. So we got reverse, and we got a Pan card, which is our first rare panda so far. Oh, making sure. Essays there, alright. Now let's see, we got 12 more booster packs from this box, but we still have one other full box of 30 blister packs to open after this. Oh, this pack is hard to open. There we go. Hopefully that means there's a really expensive card in here, which didn't want to be opened. So we start off with another Phagebot. And a Lucky Frog, alright. Saving Grace and another hero. We got an Evelyn. Alright. Normal Evelyn to go with our Void version. Alright, we're starting off this pack with a Vigilanda. And we got another Puppet Master wrong. That's our 4th or 5th Puppet Master so far. Always glad to see wrong show up. As long as it's not on our opponent's side of the field. And we got an Appleth for the rare. Nice. Let's get that sleeved up. Sorry, making sure cards are staying where they're supposed to be over here. Alright, so after this, I do believe there's 10 more in this box. We got Sacafox on the art. Oh no, it happened again! Now it's doing so well too. There we go. Hopefully with the Stackofox on the art on the booster pack wrapping, that means we'll get another Void Stackofox. To start with, though, we got Lumoth. Another Soul Jar, Berserker Rage. That's a fun card. Who cares if you damage your own fighter if it gets +2 attack? Scrap Metal, always nice to see. We got another Detective Mako. Alright, next up is this sign. Are we going to get a third Void Venomusa? Well, we're starting off with a stack of Fox. And we got a second Gruff Griff. I do believe this is the second one so far for today. Second one in the same box of 30. I did forget to ask if all of these booster packs were put in the box at the factory where they were printed. Would be curious to know. This one we're starting off with a Pyrox. And Fina is still waiting on an Evangeline for today. Oh, speaking of, there's the Evangeline. Well, that was good timing. That is another beautiful foil. Alright. So while it's no Gamatron signature card, that is still a great pull. So next up, we got everyone's favorite merchant on the booster pack art. Starting off with a Cat Saver. I'll clear the commons and uncommons, I guess, after this pack. Oh, shoot. Well, we got Grot Bloom again. I accidentally skipped a common. We got Voodal and Biceptus too. Need to be more careful about that for next time. But we got another Grot Bloom. Alright, so I have 7 more blister packs for this box. Alright, so we're starting off with a Pecti. Oh, there's another fish out of water. I feel like this is definitely one of the other all-star uncommons. And Rule of 4. Got Pressure Plates. Squirrel, Soldier Dice. And the best commons. And behind the Gundra, we have another Valkyrian. This is the power of Ren lurking in the background. Summoning Valkyrians to appear in my booster packs. Alright. Next blister pack, here we go. This is number 55. Should be number 55 of 90. Starting off with a Robel. Nope's always good. Magnet Storm. That's one way to deal with Nakira tokens. And we got another Cerbercat. Alright, so here we go. Lucky Frog Merchant. Maybe we'll get a Void Lucky Frog Merchant. But yeah, I'm hoping for maybe not a Void Hero, but one of the other Void cards. But starting off, we got a Lucky Frog. Oh, can't skip the Soul Jar dice. And we got another Nakira. Alright, 4 more packs in this box. There'll be 1 more box after this. Oh, and there's Puppet Master Wrong. You see, the Puppet Master, doesn't matter what else you get in the pack. You know it's still good when the Puppet Master shows up. And we got Sacofox. Nice. And, oh, there's our first Gamatron. Alright. Not a signature Gamatron, but hey, it's still arguably the most powerful fighter in the game, which did win me 1 game from the tournament. Oh. Wrong side in the sleeve. There we go. Alright, first Gamatron. So you've got 33 more packs to open. Let's hope for 33 more Gamatrons. I think we are due for a Void Rare pretty soon, too. Alright, so we got Cataver to start off. Night Owl, Sinking Feeling. And we got Brickon the Miner. Who needs that Brickon when we got this Void version? Alright, 2 more from this box. There'll be another, our last box with 30. Alright, starting off with a Jumbo Card Dragon. And Towerfall. Oh, always great to see the Towerfall. Scrap Metal. Change the Deep. Definitely one of the best damage cards out there, because it also binds. And we got our 3rd Nakira for this box. Give me 1 second. Just need to double check something. Alright. Now look at that. 1 more blister pack from this. Then we'll have our 3rd and final box of blisters. They are on this is Puppet Master. So, oh no! See, this is what happens when I get distracted the packs on open right. Hey, Zappa's in chat! Everyone say hi to Zappa, the creator of this wonderful indie trading card game that we're having fun with today. This pack, we're starting off with Proving Grounds. And we got another Gruff Griff. I think this is our third Gruff Griff. This box. Alright, so second box only got 2 voids. Although we did get a Gamatron, so that's nice. So far we're sitting at 5 voids. We got Brecon, Evelyn, 2 Venomusas, and the Stackofox. And second box is empty, so we have one more box. Alright, our last box of 30 blisters. There it is. In all its glory, but soon it will all be opened. I know, that's so gruff. Alright, starting off the Lucky Frog Merchant pack. Still hoping for a signature card. Alright, this box we're starting off with a Cordy Slug. And a Stackofox. Yes, Sub, I did get a Stackofox Void. Which I was very excited about since I didn't have that Void yet before. And we got another Nessia. I think that's at least our third Nessia so far. See, I have gotten some really great Voids so far. I have not gotten the normal foil rares that I would have liked so far, but the Voids have been great. So it's too hard to complain if the Voids are good. Alright, number 62. Oh, does that open up enough? Yes, it did. Alright, this pack we're starting off with Pestlance. And we got another Morang. So if anyone is looking to... Yeah, so if anyone's looking to get a playset of Morangs, I think I pulled all 4. Oh, Zaba telling me that Nessia was going to be hollow, and yet it wasn't. So I'm blaming you, Zaba, for ruining up all my hollow dreams over here. Probably need to start another stack of uncommons and commons. Let's move those over. There we go. Alright, so next blister pack. Here we go. Alright, this one's starting off with a Soul Jar. Nothing to see here. No, don't worry about this creepy looking jar. It definitely won't steal your soul. Alright, and the rare is another Apleth. Nice. There's our second Apleth. Oh, let's clear those out of the way. On to our next blister, number 63 or 4. I'm really bad at keeping track as we go along. There we go. Alright, so starting off this pack with a Robel. Got another Phage bot. I feel like we've been getting a lot of Phage bots so far. At the end of this, I will maybe try to make a video talking about the distributions and of the different numbers on the cards. Oh, we got another Tacoon. I believe this is our third Tacoon so far. Not the best card now, but like I said earlier, the more equipment that get released and the more sets, the better and better this card will become. So definitely do not sleep on it. Oh, I missed that. Did you call that right before the Tacoon or right after? But Zaba is calling Rosary for the next holo. So we'll see what happens. Maybe he opened up the super secret distribution spreadsheet and knows exactly what the next rare is going to be. This pack, we're starting off with a Night Owl. Into Sinking Feeling and Scarepin. Baby Dragon! Gundra. Alright, and the rare is the Mandalorian again, Bylask. Alright, no voids yet in this box, but hopefully we'll get some good ones soon. See, the art on this is Lucky Frog Merchant again. Maybe it's a sign that we're going to get a Void Lucky Frog Merchant. Alright. Night Owl, Sinking Feeling, Scarepin. Oh, there's the Voodoo Owl to go with the Scarepin. Biceptus, and another Lilith. Alright. Great, next up, number, I think it's still 60-something out of 60, or sorry, out of 90 on the blister packs. This is our final box. Maybe we'll get a third Void Venomusa, you never know. So we're starting off with a Witchy Longlegs this time around. Hopefully that nope wasn't a sign that we're not going to get a Void. Farn. One Trick Pony. Wait, is that a black border? This is a Void. And it's another Void Evelyn. So we got 2 pairs of the same exact Void so far. I was not expecting that, but hey, that's still one of the most beautiful Void arts, so I'm still very happy with that. I'm running out of the slim fit sleeves, so maybe I need to save the rest of them, just use normal sleeves for the other foil ones. Alright, so we got pairs of Void Evelyns. Alright. Zaba's excited for that. Alright, on to... Like I said, lost track of number. I think we're around 70 right now. Out of 90 on the packs. And once I'm done opening up all these blister packs, I will be going over the deck tech and tournament reports on the deck and tournament that actually won me all these blisters. Alright, starting off this pack with a Lumoth. Another Soul Jar. That creepy jar does not leave me alone. It keeps popping up everywhere. And we got another Panguard. This is an absolute tank, which is hard to get rid of if you can manage to get it onto the field. Alright, next blister, here we go. Still hoping on a signature card. Alright, starting off this one with a Pyrox, Athena, Nullifying Void, Abducta, that's a great one, Eject, and another Evelyn. I think this is our second non-void Evelyn too. Maybe it's a sign that I'm just meant to build an Evelyn deck, which I have not actually done yet. But if you want to have fun with Voodools, Evelyn is definitely one of the heroes that can help you do that. Alright. On to the next blister pack. I feel like it's been a while since we got a Puppet Master wrong. But with him on the art, I forgot to shift the uncommon to the front. There we go. Right. If Zaba is still here, I wonder if Zaba can tell us if the uncommon, if in Harmonic Surge, I wonder if the uncommons are still going to be in the back of the pack behind the rare again. We got our second Gamatron. All right. No signature, but hey, it's still everyone's favorite mech. All right. Got our second Gamatron. Gamatron is such a fun card because even if you're not able to play it, there's still other fighters which have very fun combos with this because of its ceremonial mana cost of 20. So glad to see another one of those. Right, next up, got another Lucky Frog Merchant pack. Alright, starting off with a Scarepin. Revenger Raider, art made by Zaba. Shellstorm, and yet another Gruffgriff. Not the rare we were looking for, but we still have 17, maybe, chances of getting a signature card. It's 5... Sorry, 18 more blister packs to go. Alright, this pack, we're starting off with a Pektai. We got another fish out of water. Nice. Payoff. I feel like there are also a lot more cantrips like that and card draw spells being printed in Harmonic Surge. So I think Payoff's playability is definitely going to go up with some fun combos in the second set of Nostalgix. We got another Detective Mako, which I think might be our 6th one. We've gotten a lot of Detective Mako so far. Alright, so this number 70 something. We start off with a Pyroac, a Regenerate, and a Chronoku. The Chronoku evolution line is fun. One of the evolution lines that combo very well with Gamatron. Mimikis, Magician's Bag, and oh, we got our first Jellyphant of the night. Alright, Jellyphant is especially fun with Extra Life, since Jellyphant is a first evolution fighter, so it will come in with Rage, so it comes in, deals 3 to everything, either deals 10 to something or deals 3 to everything again. Alright, well, foil rares are falling. Alright, should be good now. Alright. Next blister pack, here we go. We're starting off with a Lucky Frog. It's got Keepers of the Peace and Vigilanda. Behind the Verox, we have a tune-up, which I think is our second tune-up so far tonight. Alright, about halfway through the last box so far. Oh, we start off with a good one, the Puppet Master Wrong. Restricted for a reason, having multiples in play means your opponent is in big trouble. We got Stackofox too to even spam more tokens. And behind Liddy, we got Dr. Corvus. This is our first Dr. Corvus so far today. Alright, next up, got a Stackofox pack. Maybe it means this. I mean, we've gotten doubles on 2 of our Void Rares. Maybe this means we're going to be getting another Void Stackofox. We are starting off with another Pyrox. We got Pigma to go with our Pyrox. And we got another tune-up. I think it's been... I think we're set up to get another foil rare soon enough. We haven't gotten a booster box dragon yet, so maybe we'll get a booster box dragon. Come on, there we go. Alright, so this pack is starting off with a severe weather. I feel like we've been getting a lot of replicas. Now they are common, I still feel like we're getting a lot. And we got a Croak. Forgive me wrong, did we have a pack with the same exact set of commons and uncommons? I feel like we did. Or am I just imagining things? At any rate, we got another Croak. Alright, next blister pack. After this one, I'll count to see how many we have left. Alright, we're starting off with a Reload. And a Plunge Rack. Whoops. There we go. Need a hand. I definitely need a hand holding the cards better to make sure I don't accidentally reveal what's behind them. Kai Laser Pointer, and the rare is a Divine Wrath. There we go. I was just saying we were due for another foil card, a foil Divine Wrath. Not only is that beautiful art, but it is a great card too. Oh, that need a better sleeve than that one. Alright, there we go. We're still waiting on a booster box dragon, so I'm hoping for a booster box dragon, another void, maybe even a signature card. We're still not guaranteed to get a signature card with 90 packs, but you never know. This pack, we are starting off with a Succor, a Turnip, to go with all of our tune-ups we keep opening up. And we got Miragor, which is one of the ways to just straight up void and destroy a fighter on the field. Right, oh, I need to count to see how many blisters we have left. Alright, so, including this one, we have 11 more blister packs remaining. So far, we've only gotten one Void Rare too, so I think we are due for a second Void Rare this box. Maybe even two, you never know. Alright. But starting off with this pack, we have a Night Owl, along with a Sinking Feeling, a Scarepin, Excalibur. Wait, is that a black border behind the Succubi? We got another Void Rare. Void Rare is another Brecon. Oh, that's... Wow, okay, so... That damage on the Brecon, that is really disappointing. I mean, I don't think that was just from me sliding cards around. I know most of the other voids I've opened so far haven't actually had... Like, I have heard stories in, like, people saying about the manufacturing defects on the void rares. But this one is definitely disappointing. Alright, so let's put you right there. Alright, so hopefully we'll get one more void rare. Or maybe even a signature card. One signature card would make up for even no void cards. So here's hoping. Alright, this pack, we're starting off with a live wire. Oh, I think I accidentally spoiled the rare. It is a Vix of the Sixth, which I don't think we've opened yet tonight. Alright, next blister. Almost at the finish line here. Alright, so next up we got a Gorgodot. And we got a Chronocreos. Another great rare. Another card that combos terrifically with Gamatron, which might, in this card, might even be in the deck tech, which I'll go over after we're done with the pack opening. So it looks like we got eight more blister packs. Come on, let's get one more void. Or a signature card. Wait. Alright. And comments to the front. So we're starting off with a turnip. Spear Creator, Robel. And we got a Seal Costa for the foil rare. Alright. It is a beautiful card. Not one of the ones we were hoping for, but we still have several more chances for another void rare. Alright, so now we got a Metal Card Flick. Followed by Phagebot and everyone's favorite Lucky Frog. Oh, and we got, for the rare, we got an Extra Life! This is one of my favorite cards. It was also restricted at the tournament that I was at last weekend. Rightfully so, because Extra Life and Gelfont is one heck of a combo. Alright, 6 more blisters remaining. Alright, so we're starting off this pack with a Night Owl. And we got another Divine Wrath. It is a great pickup. Divine Wrath is just one of the best sweepers in the game because it just automatically voids everything. Alright, and that is our second Divine Wrath. I believe second this box too, if I remember right. Oops. No, we got 5 more blister packs remaining. Still holding out hope for a signature card. But now we're starting off with a Soul Jar. With Pyrox and Athena. I mentioned this earlier, but Shellstorm is a common, even though it accidentally had the uncommon border. And by the payoff, we have yet another Tunip. This might be our 4th one that we've opened so far today. Alright, so now out of the four packs remaining, there's still a chance we'll get a signature card. We'll see. Now we're starting off with a Nullifying Void. Kataver and Night Owl. I feel like we're getting a lot of Night Owls. Then again, I suppose you will see certain cards a lot when you're opening up 90 blister packs. And we got a Xenobot. Alright. Once again, not one of the foil rares we were really hoping to get, but hey, it's still a great card. Now, 3 blister packs remain. We're starting off with a super massive slingshot. And a Scaffa. And the saving grace, we got an Evangeline. Nice. Back-to-back foil rares. That means there are only 2 blister packs remaining. Right. The penultimate, the second to last pack, starting off with a Pyroac. Soul Jar Dice, always nice to see. And we got another Bylast, which might actually be our 4th one we've opened today. Alright, all that means we have 1 blister pack remaining. We started with 90, and now we're left with only 1. This is it. This is our last chance to get a signature card. Signature cards are supposed to be in 1 in every 100 packs. But it feels like it's actually more rare than that, since not a lot have been revealed. Not a lot have been found so far. So we're starting this off with a Pectai, Big Strong Cactus, another Fish Out of Water, Rule of 4, Biceptus, to go with our other buff cactus, Manged Storm, Treadin, and behind the Treadin, Fairn. Alright, 1 more chance with signature card, and we got a Voidcast. Alright, so overall we got a total of 7 Voids, 3 from the first pack, 3 from the first box. I knocked the camera out. Yeah, so we did get doubles on 3 of the Void Rares, but overall, still good. We still got some great Voids. The Stackofox, I did not actually have any copies of before, or Venomusa, so always happy to see those. And now, with the packs out of the way, it's time to talk about the deck, which actually won me all of these cards. But first, I need to grab a drink of water, so give me 1 moment while I take a water break. Right. I actually need to run and grab some more water, so I will be right back after a minute, but don't go anywhere. The deck tech and tournament report is coming up next, but I will be right back. Alright, I am back. So... Alright, so now, let's get that out of the way. Alright, so last weekend at the Minnesota Card Show Tournament, Nostalgix was there as one of the only trading card games and non-sports cards sellers there. And they had a tournament. There were 8 people there at the tournament, and I managed to go undefeated, 2-0, 3 matches in a row to win first place. And going into the tournament, there were 3 cards which were restricted to 2 copies each. They were Scrap Metal, Puppet Master Wrong, and Extra Life. And unfortunately for me, my favorite deck was an Extra Life deck, which was specifically built to make Extra Life as consistent as possible. And I tried goldfishing some games for practice with it with only 2 copies, and it wasn't as consistent as what I thought it needed to be. So I decided to build a new deck. And I had a lot of trouble trying to build a deck, because a lot of the decks I tried, I just couldn't make them work with only 50 cards. So I eventually just decided, you know what? There were 3 cards that were limited to 2 copies each. Why don't I just try to build a deck with all 3 of those cards? So I came up with a deck which I like to call Time Machine, which I will show you right now. And the main strategy of the deck, it has a value grindy game plan. So you play a lot of spells and surprises to slow down your opponent and to disrupt their synergies. If you can do that, if you can disrupt their combos and their synergies with their cards, you'll slowly gain an advantage as the game goes on along, because you'll force the game into a situation where there's a lot of 1v1 scenarios with your cards and your opponent's cards. You'll gain advantage by having cards that are individually stronger than your opponent's. And the card that helps make all this work is Nakira, Herald of the Kraken. Once per turn, you can pay 1 mana and create a 1 health, 0 attack marine token with taunt. And things with taunt have to be attacked before things without taunt. And Nakira is absolutely amazing. Having an option every single turn, having a 1 mana play, it means that in order to ensure a turn 1 play, you don't actually need to fill your deck with a bunch of 1 mana cards, which won't be as useful later as the game goes along, because you'll always have Nakira, and making a taunt token on turn 1 is almost always going to be relevant. And even later on in the game, having Nakira's ability as an option, just as a mana sink in case you have an extra mana, it's also really good. And since we don't have to play as many 1 mana cards, we can fill our deck with more expensive cards. They'll have a higher impact later on in the game. So having Nakira makes the deck building great. It makes building the deck a lot easier. And because I want to play Scrap Metal, I had to have Metal Fighters, so I ended up going with the Gamatron line. If you don't know what Gamatron does, it has charge, so it can attack right away. And it has a Void Obliteration attack, which deals 10 damage to a fighter, but if it attacks a hero directly, the damage increases by the total number of cards in all players' Void piles. So needless to say, if you attack with Gamatron once at your opponent's hero, you are probably going to win the game. And if it doesn't win the game, it has 20 health, so it's probably going to survive 1 more turn to win on the next turn. The problem with Gamatron is not actually the mana cost, because you don't actually play it for mana. You play it by sacrificing 4 specific mechs, which does sound difficult to do, and it is difficult to play 4 different specific cards, but the thing is, all of the Gamatron mechs are all really good and solid cards, even without the Gamatron combo. Normally, historically, in other trading card games, if there's a card like Gamatron, you are forced to play a bunch of mediocre cards, which you can eventually sacrifice to get a really powerful card like Gamatron. but in this case, all of the Gamatron mechs are still solid enough cards where we don't have to rely on the combo. And that actually helps out really well with our value game plan, because we can have this backdoor combo to potentially just win the game on the spot, but there's not a lot of cost for including the combo. Gamatron is limited to just 1 copy in a deck instead of the normal 4, so we only have 1 dead card, which we could draw and not be able to do anything at all with it, in order to have access to a potentially game-winning combo that doesn't actually disrupt our deck all that much for trying to just include it in the deck at all. And speaking of the Gamatron mechs, I went with 2 copies of each of them. You can play up to 4 copies, but since all of them cost 4 mana, playing multiple in a turn is very difficult to do. Scrap metal does help with that, but scrap metal was restricted to only 2 copies each. It was only restricted to 2 copies, which meant we couldn't really rely on it to help player cards. We'd only think of it as like an added bonus. It'll help the deck, but we couldn't rely on it for our main strategy. So I'm only playing 2 copies. You can maybe play 3 of each. That would mean you would be playing with 12 4-drops. And I feel like that's just too many. You should focus on having some more lower mana fighters, just so you have better plays early in the game, besides just making taunt tokens with Nakira. Now, all of the Gamatron mechs, they all cost 4 mana and have 7 health, which is a lot. There aren't a lot of cards that can single-handedly kill a 7 health fighter just in 1 turn. And 7 is actually a really important number, because if it had just 1 less health at 6, it would have been a lot worse during the tournament, but the fact that it had 7 health made it really good. And all the Gamatron mechs, they all have different attacks. Gundra, which is probably the best of the 4, is a 4 damage attack. It also deals 2 damage to another opponent's fighter, which lets you spread out damage, and since there's so many token decks around between the Kira and the Puppet Master Rong, being able to spread damage like that is really useful for clearing out your opponent's side of the board. You got 2 copies of Aegisect. This 4 damage attack also gives the fighter +2 maximum health, which can go above the +2 health. It can increase the health of a fighter that's already at max. The 2 copies of Metamix. It does not deal damage on attack, but instead use it to restore 5 health to any fighter up to its max. We have 2 copies of Excalibur. It's a 4 damage attack that gives another friendly fighter +1 attack, which is really good because this deck can sometimes struggle to deal damage, so being able to add attack to another fighter can help that out a lot. Now, in order to make scrap metal worth it, I felt like I needed to play another metal fighter evolution line, so I decided to go with the Abducta line. I'm playing 4 copies of Abducta. It's a 3 mana fighter with 4 health. It cannot be targeted by hero or fighter abilities. It has a 2 damage attack, which may not sound like much, but the most important attack is hide and seek. Pardon me. So with Hide and Seek, you can search the top 5 cards of your deck, pick 1 to put into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Being to look at 5 cards and pick 1 is incredibly powerful. This is a first evolution fighter too, so you don't have to worry about playing this on a different card. While 4 health may not be a lot, it's still enough to survive a lot of things and still be able to use the hide and seek on the turn after you play it. So we are playing 4 copies of that. We are playing 2 copies of its evolved form, Destructa, which costs 7 mana, has 11 health, but the most important part about it is its top line ability, it says your opponent's hero and fighters cannot use abilities, which means all the top line abilities on all of your opponent's fighters and the ability of the hero cannot be used. It is incredibly powerful for just shutting down a lot of the useful parts on fighters, and because this is only one-sided, it's still great for getting in an advantage. Sorry, give me 1 second. Alright. Destructo also has a 6 damage attack, and it also has a Seek and Destroy attack. But you look at the top 5 cards, you reveal 2 of them, and deal their combined mana cost as damage before you put them into your hand, put the rest on the bottom. Because we have one kind of Gamatron on the deck, this has the potential to deal over 20 damage in one attack, which can very easily just win us the game right there if we're able to attack our opponent's hero with it. And while it's not likely to happen since there's only one copy of Gamatron, Destructo's top ability to just shut down our opponent's abilities, it is so good that the potential combo with Gamatron is not needed in order for us to still win the game with this card. So I'm gonna try to adjust the focus a little bit. Alright, hopefully that'll cards will look a little bit better this way. A little bit better with that. So we are playing 2 copies of Destructo. We could be playing 3, but generally speaking with second evolution fighters, I try not to play more than 2, but because Destructo is so good, I would consider playing a 3rd copy. So that's the machine part of the time machine. Now let's get onto the time part, because we're playing the Cuckoo line. So we have 4 copies of Cuckoo, first evolution fighter. Cost 2 mana, comes in with 3 health. And it has a 2 damage attack, which also lets you look at the top 2 cards of your library and put them back in any order. Now, because there aren't ways to reliably shuffle the deck, the fact that we can just look at the top 2, put them back, we can't shuffle away the cards we put back easily if we don't like them. It doesn't make it the ability super great, but it is useful sometimes to set up our draws. We're playing 4 copies of those and 2 copies of its evolved form, Chronoku. Costs 5 mana, comes in with 7 health. Once per turn, we just look at the top 3 cards and put them back in any order, not tied to the attack, because with its attack deals 3 damage, plus the mana cost of the top card of our deck, which we reveal. So, if we use this once per turn ability and reveal Gamatron, this will do 23 damage. And like I said earlier, it's a second evolution fighter, so I try not to play more than 2 copies of it, and I think 2 is a good number for that. But there is a 3rd fighter in the evolution, and that is Chrono Krios. And with Chrono Krios, it has 8 mana, comes in with 10 health. Once per turn, we can either just draw a card or search our deck for any card and void it, which is incredibly powerful because we can just immediately look up Gamatron and just void it right away. And with it's the reason why we want to void Gamatron is because of its Master of Time attack. We can either reveal the top 3 cards of a deck and deal their combined cost as damage, or choose any 2 cards that are voided and deal their combined cost as damage. So I'm going to try to see if I can adjust the focus again. This is my first stream. This is my first stream with this deck. This first live stream with my new camera. Alright, let's see. There's a delay on the YouTube live stream, so I'm waiting to see how it looks on the live stream itself. I think this is good. Yes. And like I said before, like, Chronic Krios it combos great with Gamatron, especially because we can immediately search up Gamatron and just put it into our Void right away. The thing is, it's the third evolution fighter. I feel like if we put in more copies and more ways to play Chronic Krios, I feel like it would make the grindy game plan first, which is why this is not focusing on being a Chronic Krios combo deck, but it's still worth playing as a one of. And I felt like I needed to play more fighters than just those, so I'm also playing 2 copies of Fish Out of Water. It also costs 4 mana, comes with 7 health. Because I want to play these, that's another reason why I'm only playing 2 of each of the Gamatron mechs. In Fish Out of Water, it is immune to Binding, which can be really annoying. It has a 6 damage attack, which is a lot stronger than a lot of the other fighters in the deck. It also has an attack called the Pretender, which doesn't, instead of dealing damage, just removes the weakness from one of your fighters and makes them immune to Binding. I was very worried about different binding cards and binding effects during the tournament, which is why I just have 2 copies of this card. I would have ideally wanted to have more, but I can only fit 2 in. But this is another card that is just great in pretty much every single deck. Just to make sure you're immune to binding, it's still a good card just on its own. And to finish off, we have 2 copies of the Restricted Fighter Puppet Master Wrong. With 3 mana, comes with 5 health, and has charge, so we can attack right away. And you have 2 options on your first turn for the attack. You can just summon a 2 health, when attack puppet token with taunt, or deal 3 damage for each puppet token in play. So, immediately after you play it, you can make a puppet token with taunt to protect it right away, and just each turn make another puppet, just to make it really annoying for your opponent to get through all the taunt tokens. Excuse me. I'm not really sure what else to say about Puppet Master Wrong. It's just one of the individually strongest cards in the game. And if you are lucky enough to draw 2, you're going to flood the board with so many taunt tokens. If your opponent does not have a way to sweep away your tokens, they're going to have a lot of trouble attacking into either... Excuse me. You're going to have a lot of trouble attacking into either your hero or the Puppet Master. So those are all the fighters. Now it's on to the spells. We have Scrap Metal, which I've mentioned before. I'm playing 2 copies because it's restricted to 2. Costs 0 mana, and it causes the next metal fighter you cast costs 2 less. Now this is incredibly powerful at making our metal fighters come in to play cheaper, so we can play more than one Gamatron mech at once, or else we can get in an early Abducta and start hiding and seeking to gain card advantage over our opponent sooner. It is a fantastic. The other restricted spell is Extra Life. For 6 mana, it returns a fighter from either player's void, not just your own, but your opponent's too, from the void into play. If it's a first level fighter, it has charge, so it can just attack right away. This combos really well with cards like Gelifont, but even if you don't have a Gelifont or another great and easy way like a Licky Frog Merchant to put fighters into your void, it's still a solid card on its own if it doesn't have any game-breaking combos. So in a deck like this, which is all about value, I think it is still worthwhile to play 2 copies. Now, to slow down our opponents, we're playing a lot of different damage cards. So I'm playing 2 copies of Pins and Needles. So it's a 1 mana, deal 2 damage to everything. I'm playing 3 copies of Chains of the Deep. It's a 2 mana card, which deals 2 damage to a fighter, and it also binds it, so it cannot attack on its next turn. I'm playing 3 of these and only 2 Pins and Needles, because even though this costs more mana, the chance to also bind it means that even if we can't just straight up kill our enemy's fighter with the 2 damage, binding it will still buy us time to hopefully next turn find a way to kill it. I'm playing 1 copy of Soul Jar Dice. For 5 mana, you roll a d10, deal that much damage to each of up to 2 different enemy fighters. So being able to potentially kill 2 fighters with 1 card is incredibly strong, and you don't have to choose the fighters that you target with it until after you roll the d10. And the added flexibility means rolling low on the d10 isn't quite as bad. I'm also playing 3 copies of the best one-sided sweeper in the game, Towerfall, which deals damage equal to your opponent's hand size to all of their fighters, and you draw 2 cards. It's an incredibly powerful card for sweeping away tokens on your opponent's side of the field, and you still get to draw 2 cards. So even if you're not able to kill everything, you should be able to deal enough damage to let your fighters finish clearing away your opponent's board, and you still get to draw 2 cards. So it is incredible card advantage. Now I'm also playing 2 copies of Alternate Timeline just to try to make our extra life a little bit better. And also trying to filter out some more of our card draw. Even though we have Nakira, which always allows us a 1 mana play, we still want to have some 1 mana cards. So I went with Alternate Timeline. It was fine. Not great, but it did its job. We also have 2 copies of Massive Effect. For 3 mana, lets us draw 3 and discard 2. This is another card which I put in just to try to make extra life a little bit better, but also if we draw a Gamatron, there's no way for us to put it back into the deck, since the only way to put a card you've drawn back into your deck is with the hero Shiga, which we're not playing because we're playing Nakira. So just being able to discard Gamatron and still potentially be able to play it by sacking the 4-Mex from Void, we can do that, or else we can still attack with Chrono Krios for over 20 thanks to the Gamatron in our Void. This is another card that was fine, not entirely necessary, but it's still a okay card in the deck. We're also playing 1 copy of Voidcast. Even though we don't have a ton of great Void synergies, I felt like we have enough important spells. Just having 1 copy of Voidcast just to replay one of our important spells would be good. Ended up being, I think I only cast it once during the tournament. There's another card that was fine, but there's probably some better options as of playing this. But if you did want to play Voidcast just for it to be able to replay some of the spells in your Void, I feel like 1 copy is the right number for that. Now we're on to the surprises. To start off, we're playing 2 copies of Nope. For 3 mana, you can counter a spell from your opponent. There are a lot of very powerful spells, including Extra Life and Towerfall, which we're playing. So being able to have Nope to just straight up counter it is incredibly useful. I highly recommend having 4 copies of Nope somewhere within your main deck and sideboard, because I really do feel like being able to stop powerful spells is really that important. So I do have the other copies in the sideboard. You can maybe argue for 3 in the main deck, but I just went with 2 because I wasn't sure how many decks of the tournament would actually rely on spells. I'm also playing 1 copy of Save the Day. It's a 3 mana surprise, which lets you pay 5 of your hero's health to void and negate a fighter from coming into play. This deck is mostly geared towards unlike Nope, this is geared towards killing fighters. but because I was more worried about spells, I only have one copy of Save the Day in the main deck. Because I feel like I have a lot of spells which can deal damage and remove fighters that way. I felt like having more than one Save the Day wasn't necessary, but in hindsight, I think I would have liked to have another one. But I'm also playing one copy of Saving Grace. If one of your fighters would be destroyed by damage, you instead leave it at 1 health and make it immune to everything until your next turn. Which means if you have a fighter you really need to keep into play, you can just make sure it lives. So if you really need one of your Gamatron pieces to save, or surprisingly, if you need a taunt token to live until the next turn, it may not seem like most people see this, don't think about keeping a taunt token alive, but I actually did make that play during the tournament, and actually ended up really working out for me. So this is just another really solid surprise. And to finish off the main deck, I'm playing 2 arena cards, Game Show, for 3 mana each. They let you, you reveal each player's surprises, and you reveal each card on the top of both players' decks. Now, these weren't actually incredibly useful, but as just a personal and general rule of thumb, whenever I try to build Nostalgix decks, I always try to include at least 2 arenas, because even if your arena doesn't help you a lot, you can still destroy your opponent's arena that's in play, because there can only be 1 arena in play. But looking at all the different arenas in the base set, none of them were really all that helpful in the deck. There were actually 2, Nullifying Void and Shellstorm, which either straight up negate Nakira's ability, or effectively negate her tokens. I felt like having a way to deal with my opponent's arena was necessary, so I ended up going with Game Show. Now, in hindsight, Game Show works best when your opponent is playing more surprises than you. And while I only have 4 surprises in the main deck, I have a lot more in the sideboard, so I ended up boarding it out a lot. But I did end up playing it twice in the tournament. It was useful one of the times. The other time wasn't really necessary. And the time it was useful, I still don't think it was really necessary. So these 2 cards, I'm definitely going to try to board out for something, try to replace with something better next time. But that's the main deck. Now it's time for the sideboard. I have the second copy of Soul Jar Dice, because using 1 card to deal damage to 2 enemy fighters is incredibly powerful. I have the 4th copy of Towerfall, since it is the best one-sided sweeper in the game. I think it really is I think a lot of decks will want to have 4 copies combined between the main deck and sideboard. It really is that strong of a card. And in Harmonic Surge, there are going to be a lot more token strategies and more token makers coming out, so I feel like Towerfall is going to be a very important card. Alright, moving on, I have the 3rd and 4th copies of Nope. In the main deck, you maybe could consider playing 3, but I think as long as you have 4 somewhere within your 61 cards in your main deck and sideboard, I think that's definitely the way to go. I have 2 copies of Reverse. This negates a surprise, and while your opponent gets to draw a card after you negate their surprise, there are some times you just need one of your cards to resolve. And since we already have a lot of ways to get card advantage, whether it's getting extra cards in hand from like a Towerfall or an Abducta, like our opponent drawing a card, it's still card advantage from this single card, but in the grand scheme of things, you're still probably going to be ahead of your opponent on cards. I'm also playing a 2nd copy of Saving Grace, for those times when you just need your fighter to stay alive. Now I also have 2 equipment. I put 2 copies of Wooden Boomerang into my sideboard. It's a 2-mana equipment that lets a fighter ignore the taunt ability on fighters and cause their attacks deal 2 less damage. I was really worried about taunt effects in the game, but in hindsight, I did not, because this also lowers the attack So basically lowers the attack and lowers the damage on attacks. I can't actually play this on all of my fighters. It turns out Destructa just negating top line abilities on fighters is a way to get around taunts. So I feel like with Destructa, this isn't actually needed in the deck, so these I definitely try to replace with some other useful cards. And to finish off, I had one copy of Lava Bite, just as a third card to deal with arenas, and also a way to deal with equipment. Alright, so that's the sideboard and the main deck. And now after I take another drink of water, I'm going to go through and talk about the games on the tournament from last weekend. Alright, so my Game 1 match in the tournament, there were 8 people who showed up to the tournament, so it was single elimination. And my Game 1 opponent played Evelyn and decided to play first instead of going second and taking the extra mana. And seeing Evelyn, I was expecting to see Voodoo at some point. And my opponent did indeed have Voodoo on turn 1, or Game 1. And unfortunately for me, I had a Pins and Needles in hand, but Voodoo has 3 health, so Pins and Needles was not going to be able to kill the Voodoo before I could start attacking with Death Touch. Because on second turn, my opponent could add attack to Voodoo and have its 0 damage Death Touch attack actually deal damage and actually use Death Touch. So instead, I just tried to stall the game by making Nakira tokens. I eventually was able to play a Soul Jar dice to kill his Voodoo and one of his other fighters. But my opponent still had a lot of cheap fighters because it was not only an equipment deck with Voodoo and Takun and Kai, but it was also combined with a team uniform strategy and just playing a lot of tokens and just cheap fighters. So it also had Saccofox and Puppet Master Wrong. And because of that, I also, after I played Soul Jar dice, I thought about just playing a Towerfall, which I had in hand right away, but I felt like it wasn't necessarily worth it. I felt like I waited a turn to play it, and my opponent ended up playing 3 more cards in his hand next turn, so the Towerfall didn't straight up sweep his board, but is still able to deal enough damage where I was still able to get ahead. And I just ended up just naturally drawing all 4 Gamatron mechs, so I ended up playing Gamatron the only time during the tournament, and just attacking for exact lethal that game. Game 2 was a lot closer because my opponent was on the play again, and he ended up going with a turn 1 Pandu. And I did not have the Pins and Needles in my starting hand that second game. I only had a Chains the Deep, which costs 2 mana, which... Oh, sorry. My opponent's turn 1 play game 2, it was not Panbu, even though he did have that in the deck. It was a Verox, which gains health at the end of each turn. So if I wanted to use the Chains the Deep to kill my opponent's Verox, I had to use the extra mana on turn 1 to kill my opponent's 1 mana fighter, which seemed like which seems like a lot of resources. That extra mana for going second is very strong and very important. But I still used it to kill my opponent's Verox because while I did have a Towerfall in hand, I didn't have any other great ways to get in early damage and kill my opponent's Verox. And because of that, I felt like that turn 1 was the only chance I'd have to play it. And after what happened in game 1, my opponent was able to play out their hand pretty quickly and make Towerfall. Towerfall wasn't actually guaranteed to kill the Verox. So I begrudgingly used my extra mana and Chains the Deep to kill the Verox. My opponent ended up playing a lot of playing a lot of fighters. I'm used to playing Magic the Gathering, so if I say creatures instead of fighters, my mistake. But my opponent ended up playing a lot of fighters and putting Team Uniform on a fighter. But I was eventually able to play out a couple Gamatron mechs, which could survive 1 attack. They could survive 1 attack from the fighter with Team Uniform and slow down my opponent. But then on my opponent's 6th turn, he had a Tower Fall, which just wiped out my board. But fortunately for me, him playing Tower Fall first meant he drew 2 cards before I played my Tower Fall the next turn, and my opponent drawing the 2 extra cards allowed me to sweep his board. So now we both have no fighters in play, and I'm at a health disadvantage on Akira compared to Evelyn. But with a cleared board, we just kept going back and forth as the game went on, playing fighters, killing opponent's fighters. Neither of us could really build up a board presence, but the grindy nature of my deck just eventually let me gain card advantage, and I eventually won on prize tokens. So it just went back and forth, killing each other's fighters so much. I was able to win by killing 10 of my opponent's fighters. My opponent was pretty close to winning too up until the end, because he only needed 3 more prize tokens himself before he was able to win. But at the end, it was my opponent was not able to really draw more cards, really stay in the game near the end. So that was what helped me win the game. So after going 2-0 that match, I have a second match against a Lucky Frog Merchant deck. And as I mentioned before, I didn't think a Lucky Frog Merchant Extra Life deck would be super consistent, but it turns out my opponent didn't think so and won their first round match. And so game 1 against this deck, my opponent had a Puppet Master wrong, and I realized one of the main problems with my deck is that while it is very grindy, it can struggle to deal damage at times. And I felt like if I didn't kill my opponent's Puppet Master wrong, then I'd have a lot of problems with it in the future, especially once my opponent started bringing cards back with extra life. So right after I was able to kill my opponent's Puppet Master, my opponent started using extra life and void cast to replay extra life to bring back more Jelliphants. But lucky for me, all of the Gamatron mechs and Fish Out of Water have 7 health, which means when a Jelliphant comes back with extra life, it deals 3 damage to everything. And since it has charge from extra life, it can use its second attack to deal 3 damage to everything again. So basically sweeping everything for 6. And because a lot of my cards could survive the sweep for 6, my opponent was still forced to use the sweeping attack instead of the 10 damage single attack and Jelliphant. But because of that, I was still able to slow him down and prevent him from dealing a lot of a single attack damage straight at Nakira. I was able to draw Soul Jar Dice and Tower Falls to deal with the Jelliphants as they come. But the bad thing about Jelliphants is that it does deal damage to your own hero too. At one point, I realized my opponent had also taken a lot of damage from his Jelliphants, and that was what ultimately did him in. And I also made a mistake. In the opening hand, I knew my opponent was on extra life strategy with Jelliphants. I mulliganed away an extra life, not thinking about keeping it to bring back one of my opponent's fighters, which I should have known because I specifically played against my opponent a couple months prior at a local game night in some extra life mirror matches. So that was a big mistake for me, but I was eventually able to draw my second extra life and bringing back my opponent's Jelliphant is able to help me win that first game. Which was really close, and it had not had so many, Soldier Dices and Tower Falls, along with mechs in play because, Soldier Dice and Tower Fall probably won't able to kill a Jelliphant just on its own, but enough of my fighters were able to stay in play that I could play a damage spell and then attack with my fighters that still lived to still finish off the Jelliphants. But I was able to survive enough Jelliphants, my opponent dealt himself enough damage, I was eventually able to get in the last bit of damage to win. The second game went a lot easier for me, because my opponent milled a lot of cards, but was not able to find Jelliphant or Extra Life. But instead, he did mill 1 Lilith and a couple of booster box dragons. But that second game, I made sure to keep Extra Life in my opening hand and not mulligan away, so I was able to Extra Life my opponent's Lilith, and because it comes in with 18 health, my opponent was just never able to deal with it. And I was also able to play Destructo, which turns off the charge granted by it turns off the charge granted by extra life, because any abilities granted by equipment can still be used over a Destructa, but with charge from extra life, that technically just goes on the fighter, so that charge is still negated by Destructa. So once I got the Destructa down, my opponent's combo deck was just slowed down enough, I was still able to win. So second match in a row, I also went 2-0. My third and final match was also up against a Lucky Frog Merchant deck. So clearly, my initial take of thinking Extra Life would not be really worth it with Lucky Frog Merchant, turns out it really was actually worth it. It's still a solid deck. But my opponent's deck was set up a little bit differently and had a different problem I had to deal with. My opponent was playing Divine Wrath in his deck, which I should have been worried about. This is another mistake I made since... Oh. Sorry, getting a call. So, yeah. In the Nostalgix Discord, on the deck tech thread, on the Extra Life decks, I posted my version of the deck from a couple months ago, and I specifically had one copy of Divine Wrath as a just-in-case card, and I mentioned... Yeah, and I mentioned that having one copy of Divine Wrath just in case is really smart to have, and I was not expecting it, but my opponent did have Divine Wrath, so at one point, I was still able to use Nope to prevent my opponent from playing Gelfonts. I was able to play Extra Life to bring back one of my opponent's Gelfonts and attack my opponent down to 3 health on his fighter, but then he hardcasted Divine Wrath from hand, which just wiped out my board. And I struggled to really get in the last bit of damage, but I eventually played a game show and saw my opponent had a Nope in play. That was the game where playing Game Show was actually... It was the only game where I played Game Show and it was actually worth it, because I saw my opponent had a Nope. So I eventually drew a second Extra Life, which could win me the game if it resolved, because I could bring back my opponent's Gelfonts and have it deal 3 to everything, and the 3 damage would kill my opponent. But I had to make sure my opponent had to use Nope on something else in order for me to win. So my opponent could actually bring back his Gelfonts, just start to bring back Booster Box Dragons, and I eventually ended up drawing 2 Chains of the Deep. And at this point, it was really late in the game, so I had 10 available mana, which is perfect for casting 2 Chains of the Deep and Extra Life. So I cast the first Chains of the Deep, my opponent did not counter it. Cast the second one, my opponent did counter it, which let me cast Extra Life and win with my opponent's Gelfonts. And then Game 2 was another really long and grindy match, since I just struggled to really... I boarded in a lot more surprises to deal with my opponent's combos, but I didn't have a lot of just great ways to put damage in, even though I was ahead on card advantage. The main problem with this deck is definitely that it really lacks damage output, which it really needs to stay ahead of the game. Excuse me. Yeah, and at one point, I put in Abducta, and I had an Abducta and a Cuckoo in play, and I knew that Destructa was the top card of my deck, and I also had a Save the Day as a surprise. My opponent played a Baby Card Dragon, and I chose not to counter it with Save the Day, and because of that, my Destructa, which I knew was on top of my deck, went to the void. I wasn't able to draw it. Had I thought about it, had I remembered Destructa was on top of my deck, I should have just countered it with Save the Day, so that could have potentially lost me the game, but I was still able to gain enough card advantage. My opponent ended up playing Divine Wrath twice in the game, just clear my board, but I was still able to get in enough Abductas and let's use Hide and Seek a lot, just get more cards in hand. Even though my opponent just swept my board a lot, I was still able to eventually ship in enough damage to win that game. And with that, I went finished the tournament 3-0 in terms of actual game record, 6-0. Didn't lose a game. Now, in terms of the advantage of this deck, the long, grindy game plan definitely worked out, but I ran into a problem in the fact that a lot of the games were really long, and even though we weren't super strict on keeping each match to 1 hour in a more strict time setting, if you were to lose a game, that could be a really big problem for winning a match. So that is something to worry about. And the main other thing about the deck, one way to help with that is to put in some more damage output. I'm not sure what the best way to increase the damage output is. I'm thinking about adding 2 copies of Kai to use either as a +4 attack equipment or just another fighter with a 3 damage attack, which might not seem like an improvement, but Cuckoo and Cuckoo and Abducta only deal 2 damage on attack each, so having a 3 damage attack on a fighter would also be really good. Also, I'd really recommend putting in 2 copies of Biceptus Blast, either in the sideboard or the main deck, just because even though Puppet Master Wrong is only limited to is restricted to 2 copies each in a deck, pretty much every deck is still playing 2 copies of Puppet Master Wrong. So while you probably won't see multiples in a single game, there'll still be a lot of games where you'll see 1 copy of it, and I feel like having 2 Biceptus Blast, which can also just target your opponent's heroes for damage or target one of their other fighters, would still be worth it. Now, in terms of cards you cut out, massive effects, really, I don't think it's really necessary. I maybe consider cutting this or maybe Alternate Timeline, but I think with Alternate Timeline only costing 1 mana, I think that makes it better than Massive Effect, just having the flexibility of being able to cast Alternate Timeline a lot easier. Also, the 2 game shows in the main deck, I think I'd replace them with Lava Bites. That was one suggestion from someone in the Discord after I posted this deck tech. I think 2 Lava Bites, even though you have to discard a card, you are able to get cards in hand pretty easily, so it won't be as big of a downside. Also, from what's been previewed from Harmonic Surge, so far there are going to be a lot more very strong arenas coming out June 2nd once Harmonic Surge is released. So I think having 2 copies of Lava Bite in the main deck is fine, but I would probably put a third, keep the third in the sideboard up until then. As far as changes to the sideboard, the 2 wooden boomerangs are not necessary, so you can take those out. I think a second copy of Save the Day in the sideboard would be really smart, but apart from that, I think it really depends on how the metagame shakes up. So that was the deck in the tournament reports. And that's all I have for tonight. Thanks everyone for watching. I will try to have some more Nostalgix videos and potentially live streams playing games on Tabletop Simulator in the future. So if you have not subscribed yet, please make sure to subscribe. Click the like button, the bell, comment down below, all that jazz. And until then, I will see you guys next time. Thanks for